The lecture hall was filled with the quiet hum of students scribbling notes, eyes fixed on the equations Professor Richard Callaway was methodically writing across the board. The air carried a sense of order, of strict discipline. Callaway prided himself on that. He was a man who believed in absolute meritocracy. Intelligence, in his view, was something quantifiable, something that could be measured through rigorous study and sheer willpower. And yet, he had always believed that certain students, whether they admitted it or not, simply didn't belong in his class. And today, his gaze settled on one such student. Malik Carter. Seated toward the back, Malik leaned against his chair, pencil lazily twirling between his fingers. He wore a plain hoodie, jeans, sneakers, nothing about him screamed mathematical prodigy. And that's exactly why Callaway had already dismissed him in his mind. "Mr. Carter," Callaway called out, his voice carrying the weight of quiet authority. The room stilled, every pair of eyes shifting toward Malik. Slowly, Malik looked up, raising an eyebrow. "Since my lecture appears to be insufficiently engaging for you, perhaps you'd like to solve this equation," Callaway said, stepping aside to reveal an intricate mathematical problem scrawled across the board. It was a trap. The equation wasn't just difficult, it was nearly unsolvable under normal circumstances. Even his top students would struggle, and Callaway was certain that Malik, with his effortless posture and seemingly indifferent attitude, wouldn't stand a chance. A few students exchanged knowing smirks. They had seen this game before. But Malik didn't hesitate. With an unreadable expression, he stood, adjusted his hoodie, and walked to the front. He picked up the chalk, rolling it between his fingers as he examined the equation. The room was silent, anticipation thick in the air. Then, he started writing. What happened next was something no one, especially Callaway, expected. Malik didn't just solve the problem. He did it effortlessly, with a level of intuition that made it seem like child's play. But more than that, he paused, circled a section of the professor's equation, and shook his head slightly. "You set this up wrong," he said, his voice calm but firm. He adjusted part of the equation before continuing. "This assumption here? It leads to an incorrect derivative later in the solution." Callaway's jaw clenched. He stepped forward, eyes narrowing as he scrutinized the board. He checked. Then checked again. Malik was right. A hushed murmur spread through the class. No one had ever corrected Callaway before. The professor took a breath, straightened, and forced a cold smile. "Lucky observation," he muttered. "One correct answer does not make you a mathematician." Malik just smirked and set the chalk down. "If you say so, Professor." He returned to his seat, the weight of his effortless victory lingering in the air. Callaway didn't forget. Over the next few weeks, he made Malik his personal project. Every lecture, every problem set, every impromptu challenge, he pushed Malik harder than anyone else. But no matter what he threw at him, Malik didn't just rise to the occasion. He thrived. It wasn't just intelligence, it was brilliance. And yet, Callaway refused to acknowledge it. Then came the announcement of the university's prestigious National Mathematics Competition, an event that brought together the most gifted students from across the country. As always, Callaway hand-selected the competitors. Students he considered worthy. Malik wasn't on the list. When he found out, he wasn't surprised. But this time, he refused to stay silent. He waited after class, approaching Callaway with a quiet intensity. "Professor," he said, his voice steady, "why wasn't I selected?" Callaway didn't even look up from his papers. "Because raw talent isn't enough. The students I chose have a track record of discipline, of rigorous training. There's more to success than just solving problems quickly, Mr. Carter." Malik exhaled through his nose, nodding slowly. "I see. So no matter what I do, it won't be enough for you." Callaway finally glanced at him, something unreadable in his eyes. Let's just say there are students who are better prepared. Malik met his gaze for a long moment before turning and walking away. But fate had other plans. Just a day before the competition, one of the selected students fell ill, unable to compete. The university had no choice but to send an alternate. And the dean made the call. Malik was in. Calloway protested immediately. He's untested at this level. The dean simply responded, then he'll fail, and you'll be proven right. But Malik didn't fail. The competition was brutal, with each round pushing competitors to their mental limits. But Malik was on a different level. While others fumbled through equations, frantically scribbling, Malik moved with precision. His solutions weren't just correct, they were elegant, efficient, breathtaking. By the final round, only 2 competitors remained, Malik and an MIT prodigy, a student hailed as the next great mathematician of his generation. The last problem was presented. A monstrous equation, designed to break even the brightest minds. Malik studied it. Then, in a calm, measured motion, he picked up the chalk and began writing. 3 minutes. That's all it took. When he finished, he stepped back. His opponent was still deep in calculations. Silence gripped the room. The judges double-checked his work, whispering among themselves. Then one of them turned to the audience, his expression unreadable, until he smiled. "We have a winner." The room erupted in applause. Malik Carter had just beaten the best minds in the country. Calloway sat frozen. The student he had dismissed, disregarded, even tried to break, had just proven, on the biggest stage, that he was undeniable. After the ceremony, Calloway approached Malik. For a long moment, he said nothing. Then, finally, he extended his hand. "You're exceptional," he muttered. Malik took his hand, shaking it firmly. Then, with a knowing smile, he simply said, "I know." And with that, he walked away, leaving Calloway standing alone in the realization that he had let prejudice blind him to true genius. Because talent has no race. Intelligence has no boundaries. And sometimes, the ones we underestimate the most are the ones who change everything. If this story inspired you, share your thoughts in the comments. Have you ever been underestimated? Let's talk about it. And if you believe in breaking barriers, hit that like button and subscribe for more powerful stories like this one.